What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Shiv, and today we're going to be talking about multi-role fighters in World of Warplanes. Okay, so the last video we talked about turn fighting and playing defensively and how you could get an ace with it, and it was a lot of fun. So today I wanted to focus more on the multi-role fighter, mostly because I think it's probably one of the biggest underappreciated but yet mission-critical planes in the game. Alright, so if you've played this game for a while, you will understand that hitting ground targets is actually really important. Not everything can be shot out of the sky in order to capture an area. You can capture areas by shooting things out of the skies on the garrisons, on the airbase, and the airfield. But when it comes to things such as the mine, the command center, and the military base, you are going to have to drop bombs and shoot things on the ground. You just can't get around it, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the perfect planes to do that is the multi-role fighter. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Now, every nation pretty much has a multi-role up to a certain point. England kind of stops theirs at like tier 4 and says, no, we're done. And in the case of the United States, they actually have two multi-role trees. We're going to take a look at that right now. So for those of you who haven't tried this out yet, I will tell you right now, it's a lot of fun. It is kind of a labor of love, alright? It's a little bit punishing to play them because of the way scoring is done in this game. But the two different branches for multi-roles in the American line can easily be summed up like this. One side comes with cannons and less hit points. The other side comes with 50 caliber machine guns that are a little bit more sustainable, but has better armor, but crappier maneuverability. So you kind of take the good with the bad. So to give you a prime example here, we have the XP-44. This is a plane that you're going to see footage of. And as you can see, we can drop 500-pound bombs. We get 6 of these 50 calibers. And our maneuverability is 643. You see the average time to turn, 360 is 12.3. Rate of roll is 140. Controllability is 81. Now, if we go over to its cousin over here, you'll notice the survivability is down quite a bit. The airspeed is also a little bit less. And maneuverability, though, is a lot higher. And it kind of is reflected here in the maneuverability stats. Okay, so you're still getting 650s. You're also getting rockets available instead of bombs. Some of you actually prefer rockets and whatnot. That's fine. But once you get to tier 6, you get access to 20mm cannons. And this is where the maneuverability really starts kicking in. 714 versus 564. Alright. But this one also comes with 8 50 calibers, which again is pretty disgusting, guys. Really disgusting, especially if you're running universal ammo. High likelihood that you're going to set something on fire or just completely Shrek every single component they have. Alright. Now that's just the American line, and it basically comes down to the jets and all that, and there's a little bit of a switch off at the back end, but that's the point. Now, one of the more interesting multi-role lines is going to be Germany. Alright, so same base principle. We have some guns, and we can do some air fighting, but we also have ground pounding abilities. Are perfectly represented all the way through the Focke-Wulf 190D. When you get to the BVP 210, that's where things take a little bit of a trip to the Twilight Zone. Now you have to choose what sort of specialization you want to have. Because of the way the rocket loadouts are going to be given to you. Much in the same way like World of Warships, you have different loadouts for carriers, though soon the American carriers are only going to have one loadout. It's the same base principle here. You have one ordnance loadout that's good for pounding ground targets, and you have one that's good for pounding air targets. Though I will tell you right now, if you're going to take the one for pounding air targets, you better have that rocket skill for your crew member. It really does help. The base principle of this design here is get down really fast, blow up a target, use your speed and boost to get the hell out of dodge, and then return, kind of clear the air above it, and basically go on Overwatch over that sector and kill things that come near it. That's the general premise of how you're supposed to play this specific multi-role fighter. Now, as I said, the Germans are a little bit wonky, but when you get down to the final form of the multi-role for the Germans, you actually get the best of the both worlds. You get the quad ground pounders, and you get 56 of the R4M air spam rockets. The downside here is you also lose a lot of maneuverability. All right, you gain a decent amount of airspeed, but you lose a lot of maneuverability. But you also gain a rear gun, so I guess it kind of makes up for it, but not really. Not really. 250 cals aren't really going to do much in the Gen era. I hate to tell people that. It really won't. But you have a good survivable life total. Now, when you look over at the Russian side, it gets a little jankier. This ends up becoming less about being multifaceted, being able to go air and ground, and more about focusing on the ground. As you get down here to the Su-9, you'll start noticing that, hey, we're getting these 45 millimeter cannons. And then at the the I-211, it's all about the cannons. You're getting a bunch of these 37 millimeters, and yeah, that's okay, I guess, right? But will it do anything to harden targets like the cement bunkers around AA? Probably not. But you still have these fab bombs that can do some stuff to that. But then you get down here to the final form of the 215, and you get these dual 57s. Guys, look at the rate of fire on this. That is horrible. And look at the survivability. Also very horrible. Yeah, you'll be able to pretty much one-shot any structure in the game, but at that rate of fire, you're going to be hitting your air brakes almost the entire time. You do get access to the Fab 250 bombs, which are decent. For Tier 10, they actually have as much power as a 500-pound bomb earlier on for some of the other tiers, so there's that. But yeah, kind of sucks. So as you can see, there's a lot of different nuances per different nations' versions of a multi-role. So you have to keep that in mind when you're deciding that you want to play multi-role, because you have to know where it's eventually going to end. Alright, so we talked about the differences of the different multi-roles and things of that nature. Let's talk about the combat tactics of it. Well, as I stated before, you are pretty much a multifaceted plane. You can do a little bit of air combat, you can do a little bit of ground combat. You don't excel in either one, but you're not overly deficient in them as well. For the American line, you're pretty much an energy fighter. So it's hold high altitude, dive down on your target, try to kill them out, then swoop back in to do a bombing run, jam on your boost, and get the hell out of Dodge and regain altitude, and repeat. This is actually a really good system on several maps. The island maps, however, not so much. So keep that in mind. Outside of that, you can play very defensive, you know, kind of locking down, say like an airfield or say the mine or military base, and play completely defensive there. You can do that. It works actually pretty decent for that. But for the most part, if you're really trying to push your grades and everything of that nature, you're going to want to be going from point to point to point, and always engaging. And hopefully you'll have a team with you. I will say right now, of all the planes that really need an organized group with, the multi-role is probably the biggest. You're going to need air cover because, well, you don't turn very well, and it's very easy for people to get on your tail and just completely Shrek you. So having a friend who's with you as a fighter can be life and death. Alright. So use altitude, dive down on targets, bomb AA structures, which is the primary job of the multi-role, is basically to clear out the AA. Ground attackers are meant to basically kill everything that isn't AA, and the multi-role is meant to kill the AA, as well as coming back up and providing air cover against any incursions from the enemy or from the air defense fighter center in that area. Kind of how you're supposed to play that. Doesn't always work out that well, but it's kind of how you're supposed to do it. Alright, so we've talked a little bit about the theory of how to play it and this, that, and the other, but now I think it's time we actually see how it's going to play. The footage you're about to watch is of the XP-44 rocket. It was actually a really good game, and I hope you guys enjoy. But I'm closer to the airfield, so I have to take the airfield.
You are approaching the front line. Off we go.
Been subjugated.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers detected. Destroy them. Stay alert, pilots. Large enemy force spotted over the airfield.
Bye, Pavel. It's really sad because I know a Russian Hearthstone player named that. And, well, he's actually a really nice guy, too. Fucking non-flying piece of shit, motherfucker. Come here, Pavel. Bye, Pavel. The fact that I'm also doing all this fighting with like a third of my life is actually pretty impressive. Guardian.
Keep it up. Victory is almost ours.
I'm back here. Lambert medal. That's a token. Billy Pavel. Alright. Let's see if we can get Winged Legend before we get out of here.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching.
Conquer.
Be unable to provide support.
Winged Legend.
Do you copy? Over. We've taken over the forward airfield. Nice work.
Oh, thank God. If he'd have waited 1 second more.
The storm is too heavy. Do you copy?
15.
Over.
Casual 15,000, guys.
Pilot. Head back home.
There's our Winged Legend. Alright. Alright, so as we saw there, we spent a good amount of time locking down that airbase and basically taking on the enemy piecemeal as much as we could. We went in there, dropping bombs, shooting down air defense fighters. When they recapped the airfield, we dropped bombs, shot down air defense fighters, took that back, and basically constantly just locked down that area. Now, as I stated before, we weren't going to get a high grade on that because you literally have to be going from target to target to target to target and constantly bashing the hell out of things with ground attacks. This is very difficult to do with a multi-role. Okay, I'm just going to say right now, this is probably one of my biggest complaints at Wargaming when it comes to the multi-role fighter. Its grade system is a little janky and almost unreasonable to try to complete. So, there's that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, so till next time, stay safe, have fun. May our Jesus bless you. Peace.